Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another round of coffee and questions. And so, what is today's topic? Well, over the holidays, like I told you, I had a friend of mine, he went out and he got that Harbor Freight 30-inch 5-drawer mechanics cart. So, along with that, he decided that he was going to add an additional shelf to it. So I decided we'll go ahead and we'll do a video and we'll have a discussion on the tool cart folding side tray made by US General, sold by Harbor Freight. So this is a picture of it here. It's $27.99. I mean, there is really, I'm not trying to compare it to Snap-on like it says in the picture. That's kind of ridiculous, but $27.99, this is without that 20% coupon, in which case would drop it to somewhere around $22 or $22.40. Not a bad deal, okay, but there's some upside to this. There's a little bit of downside, but nothing that's, not fixable. So I'm going to go over to the forum where it was being batted around. We're going to categorize some things and we're going to have a discussion about it and what I agree with and some of the things that maybe I don't necessarily agree with. Overall, it's a good addition to, a cart. You can also add it to a toolbox. This is where the discussion got rather intense. Let me tear down the caption. Let's get right into the questions and answers with no long intros. Here we go. Okay, most of the comments are saying that this is really meant to bolt onto the side of like a tool cart itself, not so much one of these tool boxes. But a lot of people want to mount them on, the larger tool boxes, whether it's, the 5-drawer, 4-drawer, whatever they've got, and they want to be able to mount this on the side. Well, you're going to have to do a little bit of playing around and drilling, but it can be done, and we'll have a discussion about that. The picture here shows it mounted on one of the carts. So don't forget, a lot of the comments say, well, if you read it, it says it's meant to be mounted on a tool cart, not so much a toolbox. I agree, but people want them on the toolboxes. So one of the things they run into when mounting it on a toolbox are the bolts themselves. These are headless nuts and bolts, but you can go down to Ace Hardware or any of the hardware stores, and you can get nuts and bolts that you want that you can actually put a wrench on and tighten. So that's not a big deal. You can just take down the ones that come with it, match them up to ones that have, heads on them, and it's kind of a quick, cheap fix. When you do, though, down at the hardware store, like somebody noted on here, I didn't have this problem, but they said get shallow-headed, bolts so that when this thing folds down, it doesn't interfere with the folding down process of the actual shelf. Somebody here says when they roll around their cart, because the tray doesn't actually lock down in place, you get a lot of rattling and a lot of noise. Well, while you're down at the hardware store, you can buy one-sided or whatever foam tape or the real dense material, and you can line the end of each side so it doesn't, if it bothers you that much, you don't have to, go through that. Just put the tape on there and you won't hear the, the clanging and the rattling when you're pulling it around. And one of the comments is, well, the advertisement's misleading because it says it fits most boxes and most carts. I think, yeah, maybe it is misleading. I don't know. It's probably meant to bolt straight onto a cart. Again, you're going to have to line this thing up, level it on your toolbox, mark the holes, drill them, and put the bolts in. And like I said, just make sure you get shallow-headed bolts so that it, it collapses down correctly. But that's just a quick tip on what other people have done. One of the people on here said the angle supports on this, that cause this to stay up and fold down is riveted, and the rivets are really wobbly and really, kind of poor in quality. I know sounds like a pain in the butt thing to do, but you could always drill them out and put small nuts and bolts on there. And that would be a fix to it. How many pounds can it handle? Well, in the literature, it says 35 pounds. I did take a look at that. So I don't know if you're going to put more weight on it than that. You might have to, make it sturdier somehow if you're going to, but I don't see that I would ever put anything on mine that's going to exceed 35 pounds. Great addition if you want to put a laptop or an iPad or something on there, while you're working. Yeah, it is. Let me change the picture real quick. All right, I might have blown this up a little too much, but you can see here, yep, you can put a laptop, iPad or something on there. That's a nice way of doing it if you need one out in your shop while you're working. Okay, so in this picture, you're going to see where that shelf is extended here, right above my head. You can see where those are the rounded bolts, where the ones I'm suggesting you replace actually have heads on them. You get in there and tighten them, so it's a little bit better picture here. It also doesn't come with any kind of matting or floor or flooring material or anything to put on that metal surface. That's easy enough to pick up at the hardware store or wherever you're going, even the big box stores. have got some kind of padding material if you want to put it on there, or real thin, kind of plywood or something, so you have a surface that, you don't need to damage the one that's there. You can put something else on there. So that's another suggestion. What kind of hardware did you buy in particular? Well, what I'm reading on here is somebody picked up 4 5/16 grade 8 bolts. I don't know. I would just go match them, to what I wanted, and just make sure they had, the shallow heads on them. Your biggest obstacle is going to be putting this against the side of that toolbox or chest and lining the holes up and making sure when you drill through, you're able from the inside to get in there and, hold it with a wrench or something. So you want to make sure that when you align this up there, that you're able to get to those nuts and bolts easy enough. That's your big concern. Just putting it up there and leveling it and marking the holes will be easy. So it's a very easy install, really. What's the cost of the nuts and bolts? I don't know, $3 or something like that. It's not very much. I'm reading here on some of these boxes, you can actually use the handle itself as a template. Okay, I didn't do that when a friend of mine got his. We just held it up in place, we marked it, and we marked the holes. But yeah, maybe the handle can act as a template. I'm not sure about that. How exactly did we do it? Well, we held it up there in position like we wanted. I put a little torpedo level, on the top of it. So we used clamps, and we held it in place, and then we marked the holes and marked everything. So we knew the exact lineup, and then we just went ahead and we drilled them out. And we'd already gone down and got the shallow-headed bolts, and we put them on. We didn't go into the grading system part of it. We just got bolts that we felt that would work, and well, they did. It's an easy install, like I said. Somebody put a comment in here on their cart when they held this up. If they drilled the holes, they would not be able to get into the inside to tighten them up, in which case it kind of blows the whole project. Well, no, not really. Let me give you a way around that. You can use self-tapping metal screws. You can buy them inexpensively at any hardware store. It's not the best way and the most secure way to do the bottom part where you want those holes to be, but if at least on the top part you're able to put good bolts in there, I think you're going to be fine with it. Yeah, they're just sheet metal screws. They're meant to secure one piece of sheet metal to another. Just ask them. They'll show you, and just you can buy the short ones, zap it right on in there. Okay, anybody else out there have one that they've installed? Give me a comment below. Tell me how you did it if it's different than what I said. Like I said, your biggest obstacle, if it doesn't line up, is going to be to line it up, use a little torpedo level, mark it, drill your holes, put the right kind of bolts in there. You can use the bolts that came with it. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying the ones that have an actual head on them, at least you can tighten them up real well. If you can't get to the bottom part, you can always use self-tapping sheet metal screws. Those are my suggestions. I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. You keep following me. You folks have a great day. Don't forget to look at my other video on the cart itself if you're interested in the cart. All right, have a good one. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.